Ben McKee, Patrick Brown, Tuesday of UConn week, coming off of Tennessee's big, important win over Kentucky. We apparently brought the weather back with us from Lexington. I brought it back from Michigan on Sunday. This is what it's been like the last couple of days, but still an important football game for Tennessee for not the same reasons as it has been the last couple of weeks, but for different reasons. And we got to speak to Joey Halzle today and Tim Banks, Tennessee's pair of coordinators. And we'll start with Mr. Halzle because everybody loves offense first and foremost. Thought it was very interesting that he discussed wanting to get Joe Milton going in the run game early in games to try and settle him in, and that's obviously been the case the past two football games.
Yeah, been the last three games they've run Milton more. He's been more of a running quarterback than he was early in the season, and part of that maybe was his health, part of that maybe was some matchups, but and honestly, Halzle admitted that Milton went to them and said, hey, give me some runs early in the game, it helps him settle down, get into the game get a little better, get a hit early on. So I think the third play of the game the other night, a 3rd and 2, he runs over a linebacker, and he went on to play what Halzle said was really one of his best games of the season. So that's what you like to see from a big quarterback, is some physicality, and that's a good job by the staff of finding ways to get him in the game. And Halzle said that he's benefiting from getting a lot of experience and benefiting from having live reps. He's been more comfortable. He's seeing defenses better, and we're kind of seeing some progress really since that Texas A&M game where he only threw for 100 yards.
Yeah, and speaking of being more comfortable, Joey Halzle said it was pretty obvious that Dante Thornton was more comfortable on the outside rather than in the slot.
Yeah, he said he could see it just from the beginning. I don't know if it's a space thing. I don't know if it's just for whatever reason, from the first snap, the staff felt that Thornton was much more comfortable than in the slot. Now, he can still play the slot, as can Chaz Nimrod, in case anything were to happen to Squirrel White, but it looks like it's going to be Thornton, Squirrel, and Keaton the rest of the way as the starting trio at wide receiver, and obviously it was good for them to get Thornton going at a nice catch. Contested catch was what Halzle liked best about his 47-yard play the other night, because the DB was kind of flashed in front of him trying to make a play on the ball, and he was able to catch it. He's had some drop issues this season. I've had some speaking issues on this video, but Thornton makes a big play, and they want to see more of that down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, and defensively, Tim Banks admitted that they were okay with some of the chunk yards. They just really wanted to hone in and focus on slowing down the run game, and they absolutely did that.
Yeah, very deliberate were his exact words on what the game plan was for Kentucky, and that was stopping the run. And I think that's kind of an overarching philosophical thing for this defense, because if you can't stop the run as a defense, you're going to be in a world of hurt. It's going to be really hard for you. And the way he put it was, when an offense is throwing the ball, there's a lot of bad things that can happen. You get sacked, incompletions, interceptions. But I think overall they want to take away a team's strengths, which is pretty obvious, pretty self-explanatory football strategy there. And Kentucky's strength is running the football. Now, Devin Leary is a good quarterback. He's able to make some plays, him and his receivers. But Tennessee was ultimately able to live with the game plan and execute it, and they stopped Kentucky's run really well, held Ray Davis to 42 yards, and that's something they're going to continue to do as they go down the stretch, is focus on stopping the run and getting after the quarterback. And that's something that the staff wants to see this week against UConn, is them to get home a little bit more. Now, we'll see if UConn can get away with holding as much as maybe the past two opponents have, but they want those defensive linemen to get back on track and get in 3, 4, 5 sacks a game.
Yeah, and still, even if they were trying to hone in on stopping the run, I'm sure they gave up more passing yards than they would have liked. And Wesley Walker kind of talked about that. And something that I think will be key in this football game is figuring out how to continue to replace Kamal Hadden, because Wesley Walker talked about missed assignments and not being properly aligned. You knew where Kamal Hadden was going to be. Yeah,
and that that's something that Banks talked about too, is that they need to be better at cornerback and some of the guys that are stepping in there. And really, pass defense it's an entire defense thing. And there were a couple of plays where Roman Harrison was in coverage and he gave up plays. Linebackers weren't very good in coverage, I thought. So Walker said the safeties are involved, and he was involved with some of that too. So it's not just the cornerbacks, but they need those guys to step up with Hadden out, and that's going to be a big miss for them the rest of the season.
It absolutely will be, and we're going to get out of here while Tennessee gets to work on the practice field here on a Tuesday afternoon. He's Patrick Brown. I'm Ben McKee.